So recently, I was finishing up a podcast episode, and I got the idea to kind of like document what my life has looked like. I remember back when I was in middle school, we did this thing, and I think it was called like a time capsule or something. And we basically took something that was like important to us, and we put it in a container, and we didn't open it up again until I don't know. I think it was like 5 or so years later. I think it was when we were about to graduate, right? And so I reflected on that, and I thought that the reason why that was so interesting to reflect on was because now I'm at this point in my life where I'm healing, right? And my life previously to this has looked a very specific way, um, you know, trauma and all. And my life now looks drastically different than it did back then, and also just kind of like looking at the path forward, my future and everything. Um, I look at how much I've grown, how much I have evolved as a person. Uh, you know, 10 years ago, I was a completely different person than I am today. Um, so on and so forth. And something that I've been thinking about recently is I want my life 5 to 10 years from now, or I want the next 5 to 10 years of my life to look drastically different from the past 5 to 10 years. And so basically, what I did was I recorded um, basically just me talking about what my life looked like in the past, growing up, what it was that traumatized me, my relationships to people, my relationships to money, how they were. Um, and I just thought that it was very interesting. So I'm kind of doing a time capsule of where my life is now. And I'm going to be opening it up in, I'd say, like 5 years from now. And I think that it'll give me the opportunity to just kind of like reflect on where I was at this point in my life and just to see how drastically different as I can imagine it will be my life when, what is it, 2028? And who knows if I decide to do it again after that. I think it'll be a fun kind of like project to see the unfolding of Chris's life and like what it means. Um, One of the most important things, especially at this point in my life, has been documenting my journey of healing because everything that I'm going through right now is very, very unique and it's very interesting. It's really cool to see how it's all kind of like unfolding and coming together at the same time, right? So just kind of like recognizing that I've changed a lot, and as a result of that, my life has looked differently, right? My life has evolved in ways that I didn't even previously anticipate. I think it's very interesting. And I think that just like documenting and like look like I love doing these videos because it's a documentation of my life. It's like I have something to look back on, right? Like oh, like back in 2023 I was talking about healing and boundaries, and um I can imagine that I'll be talking about healing for a long time. Healing takes time, and we don't ever know uh, like what it's going to look like in the future, right? And so I think having something to reflect on and everything, which is also why I'm doing the time capsule. Um, it's just a cool thing to do. It's a cool thing to kind of like portray like what life was like, what life could be like, like what life will be like moving forward and everything. Just a matter of reflection, right? That's what this is all about. And so yeah, I'm excited because I documented what my life looked like a decade ago, even more than that. I documented what it looks like now, and I even kind of like briefly touched base on what I think my life will look like moving forward into the far future. 5 to 10 years from now, even longer. Um, when you can look back at your life and recognize how different things were back then, see where you are now, you have somewhat of a trajectory to like be like, wow, like there's a lot of potential here, right? And I think that that's very cool. Um, I think it's beneficial for growth. I think that I mean I'm looking at life today in ways that I never previously anticipated. Like I didn't even think that I would be looking at life this way, which is very interesting, and I'm very excited to be looking at life this way. My life is drastically different today than it was even a year ago. Like this is what I'm saying. It's like it's profound, profound change, and I'm excited. I'm excited to keep going. And something that I've been thinking about a lot recently is just like asking myself, what's possible for Chris? Because what Chris experiences is very much dependent on how Chris sees himself, his personality, his self-image, right? What Chris gets to experience in life is very much dependent on how much he expands his sense of identity, his comfort zone, right? And I'm just very excited for that because um, even yesterday, like I did something that what I do sometimes. I don't know how often I do it, but what I do sometimes is in difficult situations, um, when there's something that I know that I want to do, but part of me is uncomfortable with it. What I say to myself is, what would the best and highest version of Chris do in this scenario? And then I to the best of my ability, I do it, or I say it, like whatever it is, right? I'm doing the best that I can to mold myself into being the best version of myself, the highest, most potentialed. I don't even know if that's a word, but most potentialed version of myself. And then with that comes adaptation, and then you sit in that space of awareness, and like after you've done what it is that was challenging for you, you're like, yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you, like this, that, and the other. It's really great. It's fantastic. I'm very excited to be here. And the more present I am with life, I've noticed this recently, the more present I am with life, the better life gets.